Hello, I want to take a moment to read you guys a book. It's called The Butter Battle Book by Dr. Seuss. On the last day of summer, 10 hours before fall, my grandfather took me out to the wall. For a while he stood silent, then finally he said, with a very sad shake of his very old head, "As you know, on this side of the wall are the Yooks. On the far other side of the wall live the Zooks." Then my grandfather said, "It's high time that you knew of this terribly horrible thing that Zooks do. In every Zook house and in every Zook town, every Zook eats his bread with the butter side down. But we Yooks, as you know, when breakfast or sup, spread our bread," Grandpa said, "with the butter side up." "That's the right honest way," Grandpa gritted his teeth. "So you can't trust a Zook who spreads bread underneath. Every Zook must be watched. He has kinks in his soul. That's why as a youth I made watching my goal. Watching Zooks for the Zook watching Border Patrol." In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so high, and I could look any Zook square in the eye, and if he dared to come close, I would give him a twitch with my tuft, prickly, snickberry switch. For a while that worked fine. All the Zooks stayed away, and our country was safe. Then one terrible day, a very rude Zook by the name of Van Itch snuck up and slingshotted my snickberry switch. With my broken off switch, with my head hung in shame, to the chief Yookaroo in great sorrow I came. But our leader just smiled. He said, "You're not to blame. And those Zooks will be sorry they started this game. We'll dress you right up in a fancier suit. We'll give you a fancier slingshot to shoot." And he ordered the boys in the back room to figure how to build me some sort of a triple sling jigger. With my triple sling jigger, I sure felt much bigger. I marched to the wall with great vim and great vigor, right up to Van Itch with my hand on the trigger. "I have no more nonsense," I said with a frown, "from Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." So Van Itch looked quite sickly. He ran off quite quickly. I'm happy to say he came back the next day in a spiffy new suit with a big new machine, and he snarled as he said, looking frightfully mean, "You may fling those hard rocks with your triple sling jigger, but I also now have my hand on the trigger. My wonderful weapon, the jigger rock snatch 'em, we'll fling 'em right back just as quick as we catch 'em. We'll have no more nonsense, we'll have no more gup from you Yooks who eat bread with the butter side up." "I have failed, sir," I sobbed. I made my report to the chief Yookaroo in the headquarters fort. He just laughed. "You've done nothing at all of the sort. Our slingshots have failed. That was old-fashioned stuff. Slingshots, dear boy, are not modern enough. All we need is some newfangled kind of a gun. My boys in the back room have already begun to think up a walloping whiz-zinger one. My bright boys are thinking they're in the right track. They'll think up quick, and we'll send you right back." They thought up a great one, they certainly did. They thought up a gun called a Kickapoo Kid, which they loaded with powerful poo-a-doo powder and ants, eggs, and bees' legs and dried fried clam chowder. And they carefully trained a real smart dog named Daniel to serve as our country's first gun-toting spaniel. Then Daniel, the Kickapoo Spaniel, and I marched back toward the wall with our heads held high while everyone cheered and cheers filled the sky. Fight, fight for the butter side up. Do or die. Well, we didn't do, and we didn't quite die. And we sure did get worsted, poor Daniel and I. Van Itch was there too, and he said, that old pig, the boys in my back room invented this rig called the 8-nozzle elephant-toted boom blitz. It shoots high explosive sour cherry stone pits and will put your dumb Kickapoo kid on the fritz. Poor Daniel and I were scared out of our wits. Once more, by Van Itch, I was bested and beat. Once again, I limped home from the wall in defeat. I dragged and I sagged, and my spirits were low as I thought they could ever go. When I heard a boom-ba and a diddle-dee-dill, and our butter-up band marched up over the hill, the chief Yuckaroo had sent them to meet me, along with the right side up song girls to greet me. They sang, "Oh, be faithful, believe in thy butter," and they lifted my spirits right out of the gutter. My boy, smiled the chief Yuckaroo, we've just voted and made you a general. You've been promoted. Your pretty new uniform's ready. Get in it. The big war is coming. You're going to begin it. And what's more, this time you are certain to win. My boys in the back room have finally found how. Just wait till you see what they've puttered up now. In their great new machine, you'll fly over the wall and clobber those butter-down zooks once and for all. Those boys in the back room sure knew how to putter. They made me a thing called the utterly sputter. And I jumped aboard with my heart all aflutter and steered towards the land of the upside-down butter. This machine was so modern, so frightfully new. No one knew quite exactly just what to do. But it had several faucets that sprinkled blue goo, which somehow would sprinkle the zooks as I flew and gum up that upside-down butter they chew. I was racing pell-mell when I heard a voice yell, "If you sprinkle us zooks, you'll get sprinkled as well." Van Itch was a sputter exactly like mine, and he yelled, "Mr. Blue Gooer is working just fine, and I'm here to say that if yooks can goo zooks, you better forget it, 'cause zooks can goo yooks." So I flew back home, and as you guessed, I was downright despondent. I was disturbed and depressed. And I saw, just as soon as I stepped back on land, so were all of the girls on the butter-up band. The chief drum majorette, Miss Yuki Ann Sue, said, "That was a pretty sour flight that you flew, and the chief Yuckaroo had been looking for you." I raced to his office. The place was a sight. "Have no fear," said the chief. "Everything is all right. My bright backroom boys have been brighter than bright. They've brought you a gadget that's newer than new. It's filled with a mysterious moo-look-a-moo and can blow all those zooks, clear to Salamagoo. They've invented the Bitsy Big Boy Boomeroo. You just run off to the wall like a nice little man. You drop this bomb on the zooks just as fast as you can. I ordered all the yooks to stay safe underground while the Bitsy Big Boy Boomeroo is around." You tell me what Dr. Seuss was thinking. You tell me. As I raced for the wall with the bomb in my hand, I noticed that every last yook in our land was obeying the chief Yuckaroo's grim command. They were all bravely marching with banners aflutter down a hole for their country and right side up butter. That's when Grandfather found me. He grabbed me and he said, You should be down that hole. You're up here instead. Perhaps this is all for the better, somehow. You will see me make history right here and right now. Grandpa leaped up the wall with a lopulous leap, and he cleared the hoarse throat with a bopulous beat. He screamed, "Here's the end of that terrible town full of zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." And at the very instant, he heard a clup-clup of feet on the wall, and old Vanitch, clumped up. The boys in his back room made him one too. In his fist was another big boy, Boomeroo. "I'll blow you up," he yelled, "into pork and wee beans. I'll butter side up you into smithereens." "Grandpa," I shouted, "be careful, oh gee. Who's going to drop it? Will you or will he?" "Be patient," said Grandpa. "We will see. We will see. Who will drop it? Will he or will we?" Please leave a comment and tell me what you think this book was about. Historically, we must look at when it was originally written, because that always helps. 1984. Have a good day. Thank you, Dr. Seuss.